This is the whole psych ward / rehab. It was a rehab at one point and then they turned it into a psychiatric ward. And this was actually used as a storage room for bodies. There were a lot of deaths here. This was not the best hospital to go to. Most of the people were like, that was your last stop. There was a little boy. When they started stripping him to put him in a body bag, they found little baby copperheads in his pocket. Somebody did pass away in this room. The person's name was Wayne, we believe. He was going through a major detox. He was just out of his mind.
I heard footsteps.
You say that they've probably seen his room.
In fact, yes.
So they're just in the room with us.
And the laborers worked here, lived here, died here. And if we get across to the cemetery, they're buried here.
Dude, something just touched me. Did you just see that light down at the end? Are you playing games with us? Does anyone need a doctor?
I hated that one so much.
Many fear the unknown. Some will travel far and wide in search of an unknown ghost. Follow the American Paranormal Research Association into some of the most highly active historical locations across the United States. Investigate untold stories that will be brought to life on Haunted Discoveries. For this episode of Haunted Discoveries, we took to the road and traveled 4,315 miles, crossed over 7 states, and witnessed the many wonders the American highway has to offer. The drive to South Pittsburg, Tennessee was beautiful yet ominous. Upon arriving in South Pittsburg, we immediately headed downtown to explore. Lined with brick buildings and structures from its past, South Pittsburg appeared to be a sleepy town with a secret hiding within its boundaries. Old South Pittsburg Hospital opened its doors in 1959. This 6,800 square foot medical facility was founded by 4 doctors. The hospital served the community for almost 40 years before closing its doors in 1998. Since its closing, there have been countless reports of unexplained and paranormal activity by residents, former employees, and media.
You ready?
Yep.
Cool. Alright. Might want to make sure you come over. Okay, we're ready. Okay.
You okay?
Yeah. It's not even dark yet, man.
Well, that's what happens when you look through a little viewfinder.
Blooper.
This right here is the beginning of the building.
Okay.
This is X-ray. And this was actually used as a storage room
Okay.
for bodies.
Oh, okay.
The emergency room is directly behind you across the hall. And on busy days, like if the clinic was open or whatnot, they would put the bodies in here, store before they brought them down to the morgue, so people wouldn't have to just, witness that.
Right.
And we know of 4 bodies that were actually stored in here. It's kind of creepy down here at nighttime. We've seen a lot of little black shadows running around. I don't know if it's pertaining to this room. This room was just recently opened up. So
Okay.
there was actually a child that was stored in here, a woman that passed from excessive bleeding from childbirth, a gunshot male young victim, and a woman that was burned in a car accident.
Ooh, okay.
Those are the 4 that we know for sure.
Okay.
And I'm not sure how many more there would have been either. Depends on who comes forward and lets us know that information. Down through here is geriatrics.
This is geriatric stuff.
Yes.
The walker, can use that.
It's kind of a reminder for some of our residents. Sometimes you can get a little lost in
Oh yeah, definitely. I can see that.
even though it's wide open, it can be a little confusing. Now, down through here, we've had a lot of people have some conversation with some woman,
Okay.
EVPs, things like that. In this room right here
Okay.
used to be the morgue until '96.
Okay.
When they closed it down for about 6 months, they converted it into like an office. After that, when people had passed, they would actually just store them in that room that I told you, and then the mortician or the ambulance would come and pick them up.
Okay.
But up until that point, this was the morgue. And it's kind of depressing because this whole wing was geriatrics, except for behind you was physical therapy.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
they had
that's,
this. Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of, so they would move the patient from here and out through this hallway into a box outside of the hospital called the body box. It's actually labeled the body box, where they would hold people. Now the clothes that are here were actually here when they closed it down. It's
Okay.
original to the hospital the day they closed down.
Oh wow. So these could possibly be the clothes of patients that were after possibly died here, right?
The
Wow.
shoes and the clothes, yeah.
Wow. That is.
I think there's another, there, yeah. And it's kind of, you can tell the period too. It's-
Yeah. Yeah. You can definitely see that they're come from different times. Definitely. Wow. Okay. That's the first time I've seen something like that.
Yeah.
Also. This is just the first floor.
This is just second.
Second floor.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
We have 2 more floors.
jeez. That's a lot of space to cover, guys. So you can handle it?
Before or after my arm falls off.
This was where somebody would go if they had severe heart problems, severe heart attacks, strokes, things like that. They would put them in here, and usually there was, I believe, 3 patients in here.
Okay.
We get a lot of moaning in this room, and it's usually male,
Okay. Okay.
definitely.
Do you know if any deaths took place in this room particularly?
I'm sure there probably were.
right.
Yeah, there were a lot of deaths here. This was not the best hospital to go to.
Right.
If you couldn't get to Chattanooga, you could only come here. Most of the people were like, that was your last stop hospital.
Yeah.
They weren't. I mean, they were a state-run hospital. Weren't given a lot of. The supplies were limited. The doctors were limited. Nurses limited. It was nothing for nurses to work 3 shifts in a row. It wasn't the best place you'd want to be, probably.
Yeah.
If you had something wrong, but it was a state-run hospital, and sometimes this is all that people could afford.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Some people feel that there's a child in this area as well. One of the saddest stories that I've ever heard is there was a little girl. She fell in a storm drain, had a bad wet season,
Right.
playing outside. It was like flash flood off the mountain. Fell in a storm drain. She was almost decapitated here. They rushed her up to the ER. They couldn't save her life. She did pass. The hospital, from my understanding from the nurses told me, actually kind of went into depression. There was some sort of connection that the nurses had with this child, and even the nurses now don't want to go where she had to have surgery. They won't even go near the room. After she died, they started hearing the elevator door ding on the side that the maintenance used, that you can't open, just anybody can open.
Right.
And it would open freely. Little things would happen, things would go missing, things would get moved. So there's possibly a little child around here. I've actually heard, not myself, but I've heard a recording of a little child making pig noises, kind of making fun of somebody.
Yeah.
It's I would say she's probably between the 4 and 6 age
Okay.
range. It was really sad.
Yeah,
so it was
that's
kind
a
of sad
terrible story.
A lot of people are kind of nervous around down here because sometimes there's poltergeist activity. About 3 years ago, a lead pipe was down here and actually got launched across the room.
And there were
And it
witnesses?
was on recording.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. It actually started from here, and I believe it hit the wall behind there.
Wow.
So, we haven't had a lot of it, little things, but see, we've cleaned up down here, so maybe a little trigger objects,
Yeah.
but you never know.
Yeah, okay.
The caretaker, Jim, that was here before me, is a big part of this basement, as well as another maintenance worker. They both passed away in the hospital. Jim passed away in the hospital. His ashes are still here, and we're trying to locate his family. He died about almost 2 years ago now. Now, the other gentleman actually died when the hospital was up and running, and his name was Art, and I'm going to show you his office.
Okay.
Okay. Be careful. This is a little bit wet in here.
Okay, be
because
careful,
we've had
guys.
rain. And I don't know if I'm going to even go in here, because I don't even have right shoes on. I didn't know it was so wet down here. In here, there's an office, and this is where Art died.
So he died in his office?
Yes, and he doesn't seem to like anybody in the maintenance room touching his things. A lot of the stuff that's in the maintenance room still has tags on it from the day.
Okay.
It's really old, but it's definitely a very cool room. Some of it is dry on the other side.
See.
What the sensation is, I felt this before.
Hello? Something back there.
There's like movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that sound like that.
Kinda
But
shuffle.
none of us moved.
What you experience is somebody like watching you,
Yeah.
moving around and watching you, and I'm still feeling it kind of weird.
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay, Art. Just showing these guys around. It's a very weird room.
Heard it again too. Sound like it's shuffling.
Yeah,
Like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, exactly like that. Okay.
yeah, that's what you'll experience.
You already
In
have
there.
it, so. This is the third floor, huh?
This is the third floor. I'll let you guys in first. This is what some people call Irene's room, but its her real name is Nellie.
Okay.
And we believe there's several patients in here. But Nellie was a unique case because I get to meet her niece. She actually died in the room, curled up in a corner.
Oh, really?
This is the whole psych ward and slash rehab. It was a rehab at one point, and they turned it into a psychiatric ward. But if you notice, there's nothing on the windows. There was no rules to restraining. They only had people sitting up here for guards instead of lockdown. They had lockdown to get on the floor, but they didn't have lockdown to get through the wings. And I find that really strange, even if it was a rehab, because there's maternity, there's a nursery, there's surgery. If anybody was off a little bit, that would have been creepy. I mean, that would have been really scary and dangerous as well. But Nellie used to walk the hallways all the time. Her niece would tell me, I'm surprised there's not grooves in the rug, because she just used to, that's all she'd ever did, and she used to think her relatives never came to see her, but she had dementia, and she would forget that they would come in and leave, and she'd think they hadn't been here for months. This room right here is 308. This room actually has a lot of misconceptions about it. Somebody did pass away in this room. The person's name was Wade, we believe. I don't share last names because of the family privacy and stuff, but he was going through a major detox. He was just out of his mind. He had a lot of wounds and stuff from drug use and needle uses and stuff, and became infected, and ultimately was his death.
All right, this is Michael. I'm going to be the first investigator of the night. I'm going to the 3rd floor. I'm going to be more or less focusing on an area of the hospital that is supposed to be inhabited by a apparition named Nellie, right? And at the moment I'm accompanied by Brandon and Shannon. And we're going to be headed through the door right now. Okay, we'll catch you in a little bit.
Man.
We will.
Alright.
I'll let you know. I got the
Yeah, we got radio.
walkie-talkies right there in my backpack, so if anything goes down, I'll
We'll see you, dude. Be careful.
radio. Alright, we will. Okay. So, the situation is, I am upstairs on the 3rd floor of Old South Pittsburg Hospital. And I'm sitting in a room currently that was supposed to be inhabited during her stay by a woman named Nellie. And apparently she likes men, young men, orderlies, things like that. She's nice to them and seems to communicate with them a little bit better than some other people. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be listening live with my recorder, Sony, and I'm going to be recording short burst sessions with both my recorder and Sony 1. I'm going to do playback on Sony 1. So I'm going to be listening live with mine, but I'm going to do playback with Sony 1 because that seems to get a lot of good evidence. Okay, hi. My name is Michael. I'm going to be spending a little bit of time with you up here. I'm here with respect. I'm just here to talk to you. I'm here with respect. I'm just here to talk to you. I'm here with respect. I'm just here to talk to you. I'm going to start recording with mine. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. I have a device here, a few of them actually, that can allow me to talk to you if you come and speak into them. There's one on my knee, there's one on the floor by my foot, and then there's one over here sitting on a shelf. And if you come and speak into any of these three, I can hear what you have to say. I'm going to play one of them back here in a moment to see if you spoke with me, and I hope that you did. Let's sit her over here. And I think I'll just pop a squat on the floor, because that allows me to do everything I need to do with a little bit more ease. Because everything's close. Okay, I'm going to end this Sony 1 in 3, 2, 1. Okay, the Alesis is still running. I'm not sure what that was. I'm gonna start recording in 3, 2, 1. Oops. Dropped it just to make sure it was recording. What were you sick with? Why were you here? Did you not know where you were? Nellie, was that you? Nellie, if you're out in the hallway, and you don't want to come into your room because I'm in here, I would love it if you would come in and join me.